All right. What is up, Breanna?
What's up? Hi.
Today I have Breanna Stephens. Breanna is one of my closest friends. I've known her since 8th grade, technically 7th grade.
Yeah, but
debatable.
Yeah, because I don't remember a single
exactly.
time.
It's okay. I've not heard her anything.
No, yeah, we met in 8th grade. We didn't.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
that's what she'll say. Very excited to have Breanna on.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, Breanna is also a YouTube sensation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She does a lot of music on YouTube.
Household name for sure.
Household names such as Brasma. So, my first question is, I wanted to ask, how's YouTube been going? How's YouTube been, sorry. How's YouTube been going, and how did Brasma get started?
YouTube, honestly, has been going all right. I've been, as you know, because I talk to you all the time, I grind a bunch on stuff, like on a bunch of projects, like way too many projects at the same time. So things are going all right. Honestly, I've got some cool things going. And I don't know, things are flowing well. I'm feeling good right now with the stuff I'm creating. So I'm feeling great. And numbers are lower than they've ever been.
No,
not
that they've ever been.
No, actually, technically, yeah. No, honestly, I'm having a good time with it. So it's pretty cool. It's going pretty good right now. Brasma started around, I think, freshman year. Like looking at the channel, it has this thing where it's like started in like 2nd grade when you created the channel. No, it's like I started posting like my freshman year. And I really wanted to do gaming videos because I watched
Man.
Yeah. So I
also, I'm gonna move the mic back a bit.
Oh, cool, no problem.
But keep going.
Okay, but I was like, I watched a lot of people that did gaming videos, right? So I was like, it's freshman year. The year of new me. I'm gonna do gaming videos. The era of new me. No, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go into my garage and on my laptop record.
You did it in your garage?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because it was like the only place I could like make sure people wouldn't like walk in or by. People would walk into my room or just like like walk by and start like yelling and stuff like. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go in the really stuffy garage and melt my face away and record some gaming videos.
Vegas.
And I remember the first thing I posted was a gameplay of like this random game called The Hamburger Man, which was like this Slender Man ripoff that was so...
Well, I was so confused when you posted that. Like, right. I remember, did you like beat hard mode maybe or almost?
No. So yeah, it's like it got like 2 modes and it was like... it's a Slender Man, but like with a giant buff guy just slowly running at you. Just
dude, that was a scary animation.
Dude, honestly, it was scary. It was super scary for no reason, and I don't know. It was fun. I recorded then like another like horror game thing for like 2 episodes, and I was like, this just isn't the path for me. I'm not good enough at games. I'm not feeling this one. So I was like, you know what? I watch people that do skits on YouTube all the time, like Higa Higa, Smosh, all those ones. I was really big into that stuff. The classics, yeah. And, so I essentially was like, okay, freshman year, halfway through the year, new me. I'm going to change it up again. And,
hey, we change.
And so I went and did some skits, a lot of skits, most of which I pretty much regret, but it's
Are they still on the channel?
They're unlisted, but they're in a playlist. So
gotcha.
No, honestly, I think they were good for what I was at, and I don't know. I just felt like I just wanted to do something. My hobbies were like playing games, and that was it. That was essentially what I did. So it's like I just wanted to do something that I watched a lot of people do skits online, so I thought I don't know, it'd be fun to do those myself, and I did them, but like Costco brand, so like not
the Adventures of Brasma. Remember that?
That was fun.
I'm still waiting on the next part.
I went and did like this. It's funny because that's kind of like a ripoff of another thing I saw. Like,
oh, is it?
It's 5 years ago.
Damn, you just be plagiarizing.
No, I love to just take people's ideas. No. Essentially, it's like there's like this series I saw like 5 or 6 years before where someone made this like animated series where they made this guy just do a thing and they're like, what is he gonna do next? He ate his sandwich. What is he do next in the next episode? And I was like, I like that. And now I'm doing that. No, but it's like, I don't know, just like make it a little more like,
I remember your microwave. It was like a character, right?
Talked
a bit.
Yeah.
Good times.
No, I think the problem back then though is I had a lot of ideas I wanted to do. Like I really just wanted to go forward with something, but nothing stuck, you know? Like I went and did a bunch of different kinds of things, you know? I just started doing skits, and I started doing like the Adventures of Brasma, and I did like Food Cure. And,
well, I feel like that's a good strategy though. I heard that's what Mr. Beast did. He tried like all types of different things at first and just found what kind of stuck.
And I think yeah. I think the problem with that time was like nothing stuck. It's like it was good that I was like trying out different things, you know, to feel out like what kind of content I liked. But I think the problem I reached like after I did all that stuff was I was like, wow, nothing I'm doing I like. I just, you know, it's like I like certain things about them. There's some videos I look back on like, you know, I had fun editing that, or I had fun filming that. But I don't know. I never like when I looked back at, you know, what I did, and I was like, I really don't want to do this for like the next couple of months. I just kind of want to choose something else.
Damn. Yeah. I thought the Adventures of Brasma was.
It was fucking. That was fun. That was.
Wait. So do you think that trying all these different things though kind of helped you become more solidified when you eventually did decide to do music? Because you had experience doing other things and realized you didn't like it as much?
I think in a way, you know, well, I think the good part about what I did, because I don't know, I have them unlisted, you know, just because I'm doing music now, but there are some things where I'm like, wow, I just don't think that's funny. I'm like, and it is, but I think the good part about what was happening there was I was trying to do different things. I was trying to like go out and do what I wanted to do, you know? Even though I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do yet, just going and doing it, you know, that start really helped me want to continue just, you know, screw it. I want to do something. I'm going to just go do it. You know, there's some times where it failed. There's like a one time where I was like, I'm going to do this super cool idea where I get a bunch of friends together and we're all going to have cameras and we're going to go play tag in this park.
I was one of those guys.
It's like, this is going to be such a cool idea. It's going to like have like such like epic music and it's going to be so fun. And it was like the most embarrassing.
Dude, everyone got so tired right away. They're like, why the fuck are we doing
it was so funny because essentially, we just all met at this park and I could tell like half the people were like, I don't know what we're doing. It's like, okay. It's like, all right. We're all gonna like record on our phones, and we're just gonna do tap. We're gonna have this whole park we could run around, you know, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be so fun. The editing's gonna be so fun, and then
editing's gonna be. Yeah. You have like 8 different angles of like just people running. It's just
cutting between different camera angles. That's gonna be so crazy. But no, after then we started, and then like 5 minutes after, half the people were like, yo, I'm tired. this I don't like running. Because, I invited like a bunch of people who just stay inside all the time.
To be fair, I feel like it was also just the middle of the summer at least.
Oh, yeah.
It was just hot.
It was a not good idea. It was.
Hey, but the fact that you tried it, that's good.
But that's what I'm getting at. You know, I went and tried and doing things. It led to some embarrassing moments, you know, but that's also like embarrassing moments also are growing moments, you know? And so, I think doing those different things and really just trying out stuff did help me get to where, when I have ideas about music that I want to post or like different things, I just go and do it and I go and post it, you know?
Yeah, along that line, because I wanted to ask, a lot of people, maybe they're in high school, right, want to start a YouTube channel,
right?
But they're nervous just because, like, what if their videos are cringy and shit, and then, you got all your high school friends or acquaintances watching it. So did you feel that at all when you first started your channel? And like, how did you kind of push through that if you did feel it?
So because like when I started, I remember when I started doing the like gaming stuff or like skit stuff, I was like in the freshman classes. I remember just going up to people and like, it's like, oh yeah, it was crazy. Like the other day I was filming some YouTube stuff. It was fun. And just like it's like, oh, YouTube's like, oh yeah, it's just. It's nothing. It's just Brasma.
It's nothing.
No, please go. Please subscribe. I'm at 20. I need 21. Please. No, but it was definitely a little bit awkward because there's I never truly knew, but there's like always a feeling where you're doing stuff that's kind of like abnormal. Like when you're doing skits, it's like a really vulnerable thing where you're like trying to do comedy, and if the comedy doesn't hit, And I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I don't think my comedy really, at that time at least, I didn't feel like very solid.
Comedy's scary to do.
It is so scary. I didn't realize, like, going into it, doing skits is horrendously difficult because, you know, like, having a funny idea in your head is one thing, but, like, actually, like, having the joke hit, you know, and then really have that go and, like, have all the editing and the timing of it. It's just, it's so much. And, there's a certain point where I started to feel like, when people would talk, you know, like I would talk about that stuff, it started to become less of like, oh, the channel, it's like, oh yeah, it's Brasma.
Oh yeah, people started calling you it.
Really,
you got a bit of a fan base at school.
It was fun, but also at the same time, I mean, to give you something, like, I had family members literally that would only call me Brasma for like...
Oh, family members?
Literally, like, there was like a chunk of time where it's just like, you know, go to like family dinners, it's like, oh my gosh, what's up, Brasma? I'm like, that's not okay. But
that's not okay.
No, but I don't know. I do think it's really hard to do stuff like that early on because you have all of these people around you that, you know, around high school, you're starting to build like friendships and connections, and you're trying to get used to who you are, and, you know, having alongside that, really having an exposed part of yourself, you know, doing content and like entertainment. It can be difficult because sometimes people can be like around that age kind of can be ruthless, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
I also feel like in high school, right?
Yeah.
There's like these popular people, right? And then they have something like they think things are cool and certain things aren't cool or certain things are like cringe shit like that, right? So when you're at school and that's like kind of the popular thing, right? Mm-hmm. You might make a YouTube video that has certain comedy or something that doesn't fit that. So you might be discouraged because like that's the only world you know really when you're in high school.
Right.
But you don't know that there's potentially a whole community of people online that would find your shit funny as hell. It just doesn't happen to be the main funny thing at your high school. You
know, I like as I went along, I kind of started like trying to get to the mindset of like what I do, the people I'm around, you know, at the very least, you know, maybe the supportive people, they can enjoy my content or whatever. But, you know, the people that I'm around, they, you know, aren't guaranteed to like what I do or laugh at the jokes I tell. But like, the content that you put out there, there's someone in the world that's bound to like what you do. You know, like there's a joke that's with someone in the world, it's gonna land. You know, and there's an audience for anything. So I don't know. I started to kind of like, you know, when I was doing more skit stuff in the latter half of it, it kind of started to get more that mindset where, you know, I wanted to make skits for, you know, people that I knew and, you know, I thought it'd be funny to share, but at the same time, you know, I try to like focus less about the opinions of the people that I go to school with because, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not trying to like impress or like the content isn't for the random people I see at school, like in my random, you know, chem class. You know, it's just, you know,
you're just advertising Brasma.
I did. I was so shameless, and I shouldn't have been.
It's like, hold on, teacher, I just got an announcement today.
Okay, it was so funny. Actually, I think one time in chemistry. Well, first off, I think it was sophomore year, my chemistry class. My teacher did not like me nor our side of the class because we were close actually. We talked a lot, and there'd be times where I'm like, oh my god, and I was starting to do music stuff around that time a little bit, and I'd be like, just like, oh my gosh, we're into this music thing, and then, you know, teacher would walk by like, what are you guys? I'm doing a lecture. Like, can you save that to the end of the class? It's like,
damn, right. Shameless promotion right there.
Dude, I mean, hey, like 10 extra subs is 10 extra subs, you know? It's just hard. But yeah, I think all in all, I starting content super young, or no, I didn't start super young, but relatively early. It's just, it comes with its challenges. But I also say it's super rewarding because when you start, you know, younger, you know, by the time you get to the point where like you're in college or, you know, you're away from those groups of people, you already have like a set of knowledge and a set of skills, you know, that you've got built, you know? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how you're talking about like you're kind of making the content for your community and the people that like your stuff rather than just random people at high school. Because I was thinking about with this podcast, right? Because in the past I wanted to start a podcast, but I'm like, you know, how am I supposed to compete? You know, there's like, I think there's over like 1 million podcasts now, right? But I was thinking about more because, you know, content creation is a lot more, I don't know if this is the right word, like democratized where anyone can do it, right? So I feel like I'm not necessarily trying to become like the most popular podcast or anything, but I feel like it's actually, because so much people have access to content now, I feel like it's a little easier to, like, it's still hard, right? But I think it's a little easier to get a community of people that like your stuff just because there's so much podcasts now, like people can find more like specific things to what they like rather than having to pick one of like the big dogs, right? So if I can just be unique enough where I'm like the top thing that, or like, you know, the conversations I have are the things, like the way people like it, then I feel like I could build a community around that.
I think with the niche of Strad content, I think you might just.
Well, I appreciate it. Just the name Strad is.
It's
niche,
just,
you know?
but no, I think I know there's with content nowadays. You're absolutely right. Where it's like there's a weird balance of like good and bad, because with the crazy amounts of stuff that's out there, it's really easy for like people that want your niche and stick to your niche of content. You know, it's like you're gonna get people that really like your stuff and are gonna be really dedicated because like. You know, there's no reason for them to stick by. There's like so many things out there for them to go for. So if they stick around, you know, they mean like they really like your type of content, you know, which is a good benefit. At the other hand, there is a severe competitive feeling sometimes because I don't know. For me, I'm already in like a somewhat niche category with the stuff I like doing right now, where it's like songs about like games or nerdy subjects, you know. That,
I remember you telling me you even work with the niches where you'll try to find maybe like a YouTube series or something that isn't extremely popular but maybe a little popular, where you can create a song about it, and then because the niche is like not super popular, there's not a lot of songs in the market about that YouTube series, so people that like that series will flock to your video, or more likely to find it at least.
There's a whole strategy to like if there's a subject or something that people really like and there's a community behind it and they love like, you know, engagement, you know, like some of these, so the main example of that, like for you know, my content is Mandela Catalog, which is the like horror series that I made a song about, which is Oh Funny. And I think what really helped with that one, like really struck with that one is, dude, some of these communities like that one, there's so much like, the people behind that community, they just, you know, fan art, you know, like all this stuff. They make like their own like fan content based off of it. They make like their own like, you know, like stories, but with like different people from different universes. Like they just get like super crazy with it, and it's like it's super interesting. But because there's such a community there that's super involved, you know, there's also, you know, when you're making content about content, it's something good to look at those small, or, you know, well, relatively, it's a pretty decently big community, but, you know, relatively smaller communities where they love content about the thing they love. So, you know, I think when I posted the song about the Mandela Catalog, I think that has worked out because no one at that time really made an original song about it. There was not that much like music content at the time. And that one just kind of worked out. And
it popped off, right?
It kind of did. It was actually kind of cool because I don't know. I've been, like I said, I've worked on my music so much, you know, and I always think about like strategies. Like, okay, so if I post this thing at this time, you know, it could do good, but if I could put it off a little bit longer, it might just work because of this different, you know, factor. And I think things, I overthink things quite a bit with that stuff, but with that one, it just, you know, it really worked out, and it was super cool because I'm always really passionate about like the original songs I do. I really dive into them. That one was just something that I just had a really fun idea for, you know, so just different. But and I just kind of went with it. And then
how did you feel when it popped off? Because like real quick before this video, did anything like any of your other videos get to this?
There's this other game called Deltarune, right, which has a pretty big following. You know, I'm you know, one of those people that like follow this content. It's a really good game, and it's funny, the day it came out, because there's different chapters to it, but the second chapter came out sometime in the middle of, you know, my first year of college, and this is at a point where I'm just making music like crazy. I'm like grinding things out. I'm working on a bunch of like homework assignments for music, and so on my phone, you know, I go on YouTube all the time, and when I go on my phone and we'll see like chapter 2 for Deltarune just came out. There was a Sunday, I vividly remember, I jumped out of bed, went to my computer, went and like went to the entire soundtrack, found like the song where I was like, this will perform the best if I do a remix of this. I made a remix that day. I made the video for that day, and I posted that same day it came out, and that one got like 10K views.
Oh, so you were like strategizing.
I went for no. That was like that was one of those times where I was like, I just honed in. I was like, I want to do this. It's going to be so fun to do. Just get a project done in a day. That'd be so fun.
Wait, so was that more, or was the motivation like, since chapter 2 just came out,
it was
the perfect time?
It was both. I mean, like, I thought it'd be super fun to like try and do this like really quick project, get something done super fast, or like really challenge myself as a creator. But then also it's like, I mean, the funniest thing was people already had posted remixes of it when I was looking at it. Like people, people were like, "All right, just gotta."
Wait, real quick. How'd you decide that song would be the best to remix?
It was I figured in game soundtracks, typically boss themes are really popular. You know,
really?
Well, because it's like, it's like a climactic moment. You know,
yeah.
So I just kind of searched around in the soundtrack, and I found like it was one of like I think one of the last tracks, and it sounded like very epic. You know, I was just like, okay, I'm going to assume this is the boss theme, and it seems like the most memorable out of the other themes, so I'm just going to go for it. And I think that kind of strategy ended up working. It was kind of guesswork at that time, because there's nothing, people were just starting to play the game, and I was like, okay, this is a boss theme, I guess, and just going to go with it. And yeah, I mean, and it got, that was the most views at that time I gotten, and it was from, like, in a single day, it was the most views I gotten on a video.
Really?
Just because
How did that feel?
It was super cool. It was the most. I've had really gratifying moments with like posting something, people loving it, with different content I've done. But that was one of the most, like, just satisfying victories, like with one of my posts. Where it's like I don't want to think of like all of my songs and remixes and all that as like they're all like battling against others. But at that moment, it felt like my strategizing and like my grinding and all that, it like paid off in that moment.
Did it make you feel like, because part of it was I'm gonna do this fast because this chapter just came out, did it make you feel like maybe I have more control over how good the video does, not just based on quality, but based on how I posted it? Because
people were already like like searching up this song remix, and I was like, when that stuff is like at the height of its popularity, even if you're the most popular channel, or you don't have like the greatest content per se, if you post something around that time, there's like so many eyes watching that topic, you're bound to get a good chunk of views just based off of people being interested, seeing different things. The song that I did a remix of, there's probably at least like 30, 50, 100 like different people that did remixes of it in that like that week or month, like. And it's crazy. I just really went for it,
Do you think in a situation like that, like I'm sure quality of song matters a lot, but how much do you think being like the first one there in a sense matters? Because let's say you're the first one to make a remix or second one, and people are searching for this remix, you have less competition at the beginning, and then I feel like the sooner you get found, it's like, if people already get attached to that remix, maybe they won't look as much later on. So
there's like two levels of that kind of, like engagement and like how people go to your video. Because at that spike, like I said, you're gonna get eyeballs no matter what. The thing with that though is the quality does matter after the week. Where I don't know, I felt really good about like at that time. I actually felt really good about that remix. I could have mixed it or mastered it a little better, but at the time I didn't really know much about that in the first place, and so I just kind of went with it, and I felt really proud of that one. And I think because it was like a decent enough remix, it was able to have some carryover after that spike. But the thing is, even people that like after like 2 weeks, a month after that thing posted, and they're a really good channel, like a really well-known channel, and they post a really good remix, or rock cover or whatever, they're still gonna get good views. So it's just, I think for smaller channels, it is very important to try and get that, get in that spike, because it helps you actually get in the limelight of
because if you're bigger. Like, if you're a bigger channel, I'm assuming, and you get in a bit later, like, there's already people waiting for you to post something.
Exactly.
Anyway,
and like, you already have, like, a big community that's going to already watch it. So if you get your community watching it, then it's going to get recommended to people in general, and then it's just still gonna work out. That's like how with Oh Funny, there's no one really posted an original song about it for like a long time, and then like there's like a really well-known channel, Try Hard Ninja, that posted a song about it and it was super good, and then it got like the same amount of views I had in like 2 weeks, which is still like makes complete sense. It's got a huge community, but it's just like that's why it's like smaller channels really that's the time where sometimes the difference between like the amount of subscribers you have doesn't exactly matter in that point of the topic's height.
Okay, then based on that, I kind of have a two-parter question.
Go for it.
First off, so this idea of trying to make videos in like a timeline based on like what's popular and like what like games are being posted and stuff.
Right.
Do you feel like that ever constrains you in the sense that maybe you want to make a song about something else? Like maybe you want to make a Mario song or something, but you're like, it makes more sense to make a song about this since this is new and hip.
Right.
And then second, do you think, assuming that might be a problem, do you think if you're a bigger channel, that problem goes away because you might have more freedom to just do whatever because you already have the community?
So I think that's a really good thing to bring up because so the first part, I think when you're searching for topics, like my main thing is like really trying to search for topics that are doing well, because that's like I said, it's like the best way for me to stand out right now. But I think there's been times where I've got some stuff that I really do enjoy, some songs I really do like, that I make, that I started to fall into the thing where it's like I make an original song not based off anything, and then I'm like, well, maybe I could push this to be about this topic, if I just change up the words a little bit. And it's just,
interesting.
But it's like, and sometimes that's for the best, and sometimes that kind of like ruins the point of the song. And there's never been a point where it's like I posted something that I didn't want to post or I didn't like. But sometimes it gets difficult because there's things that I like that aren't popular, and there's things that I do make content about that aren't really that well known, but sometimes it does conflict with things where I know if I post a certain subject at a certain time range, it's going to do decent, and that sometimes has brought not the best situations for me, when I'm have stuff I enjoy, but also have stuff I really want to push out, to help my channel. Sometimes it can be really conflicting because it's like, I really like this song I'm making about this topic, but I also really love this other song I made just for fun, I just made one day just, cause. And I have a hard time posting like just purely original music right now, like about nothing. Because then it's like, it feels at the point where I'm at, if I have a bigger following, maybe that original song would be able to get more attention. Or if it was tied to a subject, that song that I'm really passionate about, maybe more people will be able to be passionate about it too, because there's going to be more people that end up seeing it. If I post something like that now, it might not be able to be seen by that many people. So it gets a little bit conflicting, and it's not a great mindset. But, I've been trying to get better about trying to adjust that for myself and trying to respect myself as just an artist and not like a content machine.
Oh, I see.
But on the second part of that, I think when you get to a certain point, I don't think it ever becomes a thing where you stop making stuff that's somewhat relevant, unless your content and brand is you, like unless you are the content, then I feel like there's always like a little bit of pressure to post something about something that's, somewhat relevant. At the same time, when you've got a bigger audience and they like your content just for your content, you can kind of just, you can post things that are going to be doing well, but also there's a little more leisure to just post things for fun, or post things that you like just, just because you like it.
I feel like PewDiePie's the epitome of that, where he literally just reacts to shit now, whatever he wants. He
went from like a YouTube gamer like that went and played like the most popular games and like went to that to literally people make content about him.
I remember he posted a video once. He was like explaining different levels of the multiverse, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm interested in it. I want to see if I could explain it."
Right.
And it's just so funny because this is the guy that was playing horror games, and now he's able to do that. People will watch it, you know, because they just come for him at this point, you know?
Right. No, and I think that's like, and I think the smart thing about him is there's a certain point where as he got bigger, he started to shift his content into being not just what people want, but also what he wants. Yeah. And then that started to be more about him and his personality. And when you put more of yourself and your personality into it, and then your community still loves that, then they're going to the content for you, you know? And at that point, you know, you're setting up a really good path for yourself, you know?
I was curious, do you have a strategy for that? Because, like, right now, I feel like you're getting a lot of people in based on doing songs about, like, these certain games. Right. And I noticed that, because I like to keep up with your channel, because I think it's cool how you're growing and stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So I'll look at the comments on like your newer videos and I'll see people being like, yo, you're so underrated. Like, I can't believe you're not getting a lot of views, you know? And it seems like a lot of these people may have came from like maybe Oh Funny or one of your older remixes, and now they're subscribed. So they're hearing your new stuff. Right. And I feel like they're starting to just be excited for you to post a video, like no matter what it's about, because they just like the quality of your specific style of music and stuff. Mm-hmm. So do you have like an active strategy on how you're going to try to, I guess, hold these people that come in for the specific game content?
So I think I have a couple of strategies. The problem is I don't do any of them because I'm just so lazy. I you know, there's been things I've thought about where it's like, if I try and do this stuff, you know, it could honestly help me out. I just am at a point where I'm like, I want to grind on my content. I need to take a break for myself a little bit. But I have things I want to try out that I think might help that situation. Well, the first part is being a part of your community, you know? You can't just make stuff for other people or about other things, because then if they don't know you or like you, or, you know, I mean, they might like your content and they will come back for your content, but sometimes it helps to like also like the person, you know? Yeah. There's like also been a lot of times where if the person, you know, is shown to be like this horrible, you know, like horrible accusations, they just, you know, destroyed a country, you know? Just the worst of the worst. No, but it's just, you know, people will come back for the content, but, you know, sometimes it really just depends on if they like the person. Now, you know, going off of that, you know, trying to evolve yourself more, you know, doing stuff, you know, like live streaming helps, you know, just more community stuff, social media is a big thing, you know, try and like have stuff that people can engage with you while they're not engaging with your like big content, like my songs, you know. That's honestly a big thing. I don't know. I did TikTok for a little bit just for fun, and I know eventually I'm gonna want to try and go back to it, but I'm like, it's just, you know, you want to find ways to really be, you know, close to the community, because that's what you're, you know, that's what you care about. That's what you're making the content for. Those are the people that are gonna follow you and your journey. So if they feel like they are actually a part of you and your journey, and they feel like this connection, you know, you're going to start building people that really want to stick around for your stuff. Even if it's not like not your best content, you know, and you mess up one thing, or, you know, if you try and, you know, really build your connection. I don't know. That's like the big thing I want to try and eventually get better at, because, you know, sometimes I make like community posts and I post like a picture or two just for fun, and I don't know. I could be so much better.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, though.
I got, you know, yeah, it's just slow steps.
Do you think that's why a lot of YouTubers have recently been doing the Reddit, where they just react to their own Reddit?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's literally their community making shit for them to watch and react to. So it's, like, very interactive with the community.
Think it's the funniest type of content, because you're making content, like, for your community, that when they see that content, are going to give you more content to make it is. I don't want to call it lazy, because honestly sometimes it's really
pretty genius.
It's pretty smart. It's actually super smart. You know, maybe it's lazy if they do it all the time, but what else if they like doing it? You know, but I think that's like probably the epitome of trying and, you know, be engaged with your community. I mean, they want to make content for you, and then you react to it, and they do stuff with that, you know. PewDiePie, you know, is like super known for that, because you know, it's so crazy. I mean, people will go and I don't know like how many of those you've seen, but it's crazy. Some people will go and do like weeks and months of work on a project just to be in like one like video.
Yeah. Like they'll do like crazy art or something.
The craziest stuff. Yeah. They'll do this like whole like production, or like I've seen people do these whole like animations of this crazy stuff just to get into like a for Felix to see the content. It's crazy.
Do you know Ludwig?
Yeah.
I saw one where someone had to like spend hours getting pictures of his face to do a deep fake, like an AI thing, to put him into a Wolf of Wall Street scene.
Right.
And I was just like you're literally coding a like 5-second video or something to get in this.
Which
it's like funny.
I think it's so cool. I think it's so cool. I want to be at the point where I can be, have like, I want to build a community, so we can do fun stuff together and do really cool projects.
Well, you live streamed for a bit, right?
I did. It was fun. It took a lot out of me though. Live streaming is hard.
I'm curious, is it stressful because since you're live, like you might say something that people take the wrong way.
That's why I'm worried about this.
Hey, we cut shit out.
Yeah, half this is cut out, so you should have seen the middle part. No, but yeah, it's really scary because it's your unfiltered self, and sometimes I don't know. I've never seen myself as like someone who has a very controversial set of opinions. Yeah. I'm pretty go with the waves. I don't like love. I don't love getting into politics. I don't love getting into like any of the really serious stuff. More just because I don't find purpose in that stuff. But then because of that, sometimes I never got into like huge trouble with anything. But I feel like maybe I said something that maybe someone I totally just meant it as nothing, or it's like a off. Just joke, or just and then maybe I hurt someone's feelings, or maybe someone had like some experiences that saying that might have hurt them, and I get worried because that's like the last thing I want to do. Mm-hmm. I don't want to like try and create this like fun experience and this fun environment for my community, and then have them feel like hurt or upset because of it, and so. It was constant stress on top of like trying to stay, entertaining. Oh, you don't understand. Being on like hour 3 of like a live stream, and playing a game, and just be like, that's a crazy game. This is. Oh man, I died. Guys, that death that sucked. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like just narrating shit at that point.
No, because you get to the point where you're like. Okay, there's nothing happening that's interesting, so should I just like start talking about things? But then I realize, I'm not that interesting because all I do is this. I'm just at my computer. So it's like this whole like paradox of like, do I just start talking about what I'm doing right now? So what do I? Oh yeah, today I made a song, that you saw because I posted it, and that was crazy, right?
Yeah, and then you're just having a crisis, like, am I good enough? And you're just on live.
Am I good enough to be should I even entertain? Who am I?
Dude, I'm curious what a live stream would be like if someone just literally said everything that's on their mind at that moment.
Some people actually, I forget the names. I feel like there's people actually that have kind of, they've built their fan base off of just being 100% transparent, I'm forgetting the names, but they're like about like politics and all that stuff. They'll just say what's on their mind, just like.
Well, see that was one of the things that like was preventing me from starting a podcast at first, because I don't think I have any views that are like morally wrong or like morally apprehensible.
Right.
But there's like, debatable.
The ones that you'll show the audience,
But there's so many people online, right? So there's bound to be people that disagree with you, and then there's bound to be people that disagree with you like vehemently and think you're a bad person.
Oh yeah.
So I think I'm fine with people disagreeing with me because like people disagree with each other, but I get scared of like the idea of me saying something that like most people would think is like pretty normal, but then somebody doesn't, and then they post it in a way that makes it look way worse, and then that's the only thing people see. And even if like you can like clear your name to a lot of people and like they see the actual clip and realize it wasn't as bad as the person posted it, like there's some people who will never see that, and then their first thought when they think of you is just that.
That's the most terrifying thing. Like the clipping thing on live streams is so like it can be so fun, but also like so stressful because someone can just post like a part of your sentence that sounds so horrible, and they miss like the other part that makes it like that totally forgets the context of it. And it sucks because if someone says something about you online, you can't tell every single person that saw that, like, guys, listen, hear me out. There's gonna be people that just don't see that, and there's like, and I mean, for me, there's been people Sometimes I feel like I'm accidentally like a little bit too influenced by people that would have strong opinions online, where it's like you see this video like this YouTuber is exposed. I can't believe they said this live, and you see this video like wow, that actually is like a horrible thing. And then like a year later, I go back to that person's content, and then I'm like okay, and then I kind of like look at that kind of drama situation, and like realize oh wow, that was like nothing. That person did just like take that really out of context. Whoops.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's scary because like you'll have people that will just never find out like the real thing because they just don't really care that much to check, which is fine. Like you're not obligated to check everything to make sure, but like I don't know, it's just scary in that sense, you know. And another thing is on top of that, kind of going back to when you're talking about comedy, people, especially if like you do edgy comedy, right? Sometimes you just want to try stuff out, and sometimes like in your head you might be thinking, okay, maybe this will be funny, like the shock factor, and then it's just the shock factor, no humor at all. Then you know, then people think you're a bad person when you were actually just trying something out, and that shit seems scary. I don't know how people do it.
When I was doing skits, like at the beginning of the first couple of them, my parents actually every single time I posted it, like or I wanted to post a skit, they would like make me have them watch the entire thing. To approve it, to make sure I should post it, because they were they were scared of that thing. And there was some, I mean, to be fair, there were some jokes where I made, I'm like, that's, like, I mean, it was like my comedy, and I don't think it was like anything like controversial, but it was like, that's a little bit much. Yeah. This is a little bit like dark out of nowhere. There's, I think the first skit I posted was like annoying things teachers do. You know?
I remember that.
And
classic.
What a classic. And I remember there's like this one thing where it was like this joke about teachers like giving out like a bunch of assignments just like out of nowhere, which I remember most of that video was like about like one science teacher in high school. And I was like, it's so funny. Everyone that actually went to school with me in that class was like, it's about him, right? It's like, yeah, it's about him. But no, the joke was like, yeah, you know, so thank you for, you know, doing the lecture. You know, for tonight's assignment, you're just going to have these pages and then read this book. And then here's this entire textbook. And also tonight when you go home, make sure to do, you know, this exercise routine. And then take this baby to sacrifice for your newborn. And then they started getting like weird. I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe that was a little bit, it was a little bit much. But no, I don't know.
See, here's the thing. Like, I find that shit funny, right?
Yeah,
but not everyone's gonna find it funny.
And that's what's scary to me, because I think at the beginning when I was doing that, I was thinking like, should I just do like kids content? Because if I just do like super PG, then at the very least I won't. I mean, you know, theoretically I won't offend anyone because it's so PG and it's so like, you know, there's no one that's gonna be like, I don't care. How dare you have this online? You know, people, you know, my kids watch this, right? You know, I found this on my kid's iPad, and this is rotting his brain. No, but I just, so there's a time where I was thinking, like, is kids content the way to go? Because at that point, you know,
really?
at the very least, you know, you're not, you know, if you're not saying anything like controversial, you're not pushing the envelope. At the very least, you know.
Do you think you would enjoy kids
content?
No,
it's. I see people that do kids content, and I think there's a wholesomeness to it, and I think it's, you know, sometimes like it can still be good. There's I don't know if you know the channel that kind of, or the comedy group that kind of like went, you know, to a different direction. It was Studio C.
I remember them, yeah.
And they were essentially like family content, and they were super funny. Like they're good content. Like, and you know, that was like kind of, if anything, that would be like the goal, I feel like, for PG content. And I don't know. I just don't find much joy in it because I don't find myself being a very PG person.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely more worth it to just take the risk and do what you want to do, and like just hope in the end, assuming you're not a terrible person, that the people that like you will, you know, be like vouch for you, basically. You know,
I think if you're like, you know, if you're like honest and you're like, you still like a nice, like you don't have to make like controversial content and like and still be a rude person, you know. If you're like a nice and honest person, you know, stick strong to what you believe, and you know, I don't know. I feel like there's people that I watch or like their content that, you know, they do, you know, have very strong opinions about controversial stuff, and you know, I don't know, as long as they're kind and caring, you know, not, you know, being, you know, rude to people, I still think they're good content creators. I think they're good people. I still respect them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely tricky because especially when you're starting out, trying to find that audience and not get like a whole direction of like, just a whole hate way. I don't know. It's really scary. Starting out with content is so terrifying.
Yeah, that's kind of like, I'm trying not to talk about like politics, for example,
for
a while.
Yeah.
Not because I think I have like super controversial opinions.
Yeah.
But I'm very open to hearing other people's opinions.
Right.
So I would love to get into that like later on.
Right.
When I have like maybe a bit of an audience, or maybe when I just feel more comfortable.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's a good strategy.
But
doing stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think creating content right now at a point where I'm definitely not at a point where I am like big. I have a little bit of an audience. I think it's super cool. I think the fact that I have like as many subscribers, like I think it's about to hit 5K. It's super cool.
I remember I was in, like, I'm talking about like my perspective of you getting big,
right.
But I remember I was in the library at my college because sometimes I would just look at your videos, right?
Right.
And I saw the funny one, and I was like, I was like 5K, 10K views. I was like, man, she's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I saw that, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, when did this happen?
No, it was so. I was
like really excited for you because I was reading the comments and people were just so nice.
People. The main thing people talk about with like YouTube content is like, oh, watch out for the comment section. They're gonna rip you up. No, I'm so grateful. There's been so many people that have commented such nice things. There's been some people that say like, I love people. I mean, I don't love them, but also I think it's so funny when people just go and comment like, yeah, that kind of sucked. And it's like, wow, that was just honest. Or just like, I like this person's content better. It's like, okay.
It's like the fact that you take the time to put it out.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the comment section isn't just meant for nice things,
Yeah.
But it's just, I think it's just sometimes funny that people are just like, you know what? I just am going to tell this person how I feel, and they're not going to like it.
Do you ever get comments that are like criticism, but it's very nice and constructive, and like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, not all the time. Usually what happens with the comments is, they'll just kind of be like, oh my gosh, this is so underrated. I can't believe that you don't have more views. And, that's just like super kind and super sweet. But there's some times where it's like, I think it's also funny when you get comments like, this is super good. It could have been better, or like, which I think is super funny. Like, all right.
So how do you like react to that? Should I feel happy?
I was like, I mean, they're honest.
Yeah.
So there's like this one comment that I thought was super like, I thought it was funny because it's also super sweet where they're like, it was on Broken Paradise, and that was like the first like really big step into like doing topics about games like in original content. But there's like this one comment that was like, instrumental 10,000 out of 10. Lyrics 100,000 out of 10. Like the animation 1,000,000 out of 10. Vocals 100 out of 100, and then they kept going like, so like everything was like crazy out of like the amount, but then like I was only like 100 out of 100 on the vocals.
That's
like,
still 100%.
I'm like that's it was so funny. I was like, wow, I did. Well, I mean, I guess that's good.
That's actually really funny. It's like such an inflated grading system. It makes you feel good.
It's so funny because I think I responded like just like a playful thing, like, well, at least 100 out of 100 is still pretty good. I mean, and then they edit it to make it like 10,000 out of 100 something like that. It's so funny.
That's funny.
I was like, I don't want to make you feel bad.
Maybe their zero key just stopped working.
Like, I mean, it's still good,
Yeah.
No, and I mean, to be fair, I've still got to improve, a lot of things with my process. I think I have certain things that are really good about my music creation process. I still want to get better at making vocals. I won't lie in saying that if I could re-record the vocals for Broken Paradise, I would. If there's some things I could remix or master into certain songs, I would. But at the same time, I don't know. I think the important step is to keep moving forward, because what a lot of people get into with content, and I don't know how you feel personally about this when making bigger strides and doing different kinds of things, is it can be really, really easy to go and make something and then just be like, okay, but like I'm gonna hold off because I think I can make this thing just a bit better. It's like, if I actually stick, like, I just like keep learning it, like how to do this thing, then maybe I can level things out a bit better. And actually, once I get this new editing software, I can kind of like edit it better, or I can just keep adding effects on it. And then at that point, you've spent like months on this one project that should have came out like 2 weeks after you made it, because it's done. For me, that's happened a couple of times where I just have something that's super good, at that time. But I think of like, I compare myself to others and I'm like, oh, but I mean, I could do this thing, but I have to learn how to do it. So let me just, spend like the next week learning how to do this thing real quick. I'll just get this new program to learn how to do this thing. Oh, I mean, the video's done, but I might as well.
Yeah, it's just, that makes a lot of sense. I remember I was in a program called the Knowledge Society my senior year, and one of their motives, I guess motives. I don't know the word. No, it was like basically they said done is mottos. One of their mottos was done is better than perfect, and essentially the idea was kind of a lot of people struggle with that. It's kind of like a perfectionism thing, right? Where you want it to be perfect, but that strive to have it perfect prevents you from ever releasing anything. Yeah. So it's kind of the mentality done is better than perfect, where in the sense that, if you feel good enough and like. Anything you do better is just going to like kind of be diminishing returns. Then post it and then just add the things you could have done on the next project, because it's better to have a few projects out that might not be exactly perfect, but you're making progress as you go on, rather than just focusing on this one forever, where like the last like 5 hours you work on it was like barely added 1% to it, if that makes sense.
And I've talked about this with a couple people. Because I have this problem where I want to expand on things like in ways that are really unusual for me. It's like, oh, but I watch this one video and I see this super cool effect. I'm like, no way they just figured out that's a thing I can do. But the thing is, like, for me, if I wanted to spend as much time if I want to get to the quality I wanted to, right, like the perfect like idea of some of this content. It would take so long to just get out there that at the point, you've lost interest. Maybe the people that were interested kind of lost interest. You posted it. It's like, it looks good, but like the progress you made during that isn't really, there. You just kind of, or here's like the better example, right? And I think you were kind of getting to this, where you're starting out a channel or starting out content, and you have one bit of content that you just made. It's your first thing. And you spend your time editing it, doing everything you need to, polishing it. If you spend the next, and we're going to make it drastic, the next year making it the best it could be, saving up money to spend on, a crew and doing all this thing and making it super professional. And then, you post that, you might be super proud of it, but at the end of the day, you just showed one piece of content for what you can do. And because of how much you know about that, if it took you a year to do that and people like that, then, and they want more, it's going to take like another year to do that. You have to slowly build yourself up, to be able to get better and better, and in that year span, you could have put out maybe 12 things for every single month. And then for your audience, that's 12 different pieces of content that they can, latch to and like enjoy and analyze every single detail of. Or then, if you really want to, do more content, then let's say like 2 a month, 24. That's like the whole thing, right? You don't want to have it be quantity over quality, but if your quality is overthrowing your whole process, then I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. I think there's, the whole like quantity over quality is kind of a flawed system. But at the same time, quality shouldn't be the 100% focus.
Especially if you're a new channel, because let's take the 1 year example. It could be the best video in the world, but if you're a new channel, like how are you to get a lot of people to see it? I think it's better to, especially in the beginning, because not only, like it might not be perfect at the beginning, but you also like kind of having the community learn with you or grow with you and like watch you learn, right? Because I feel like the community needs something to watch to get interested in you. Yeah. Right? And I feel like, just keep latching them on, get better with each video, you'll get a community eventually.
And the channels that I really like watching, they have content, not like constantly, like not like Mr. Beast constantly content, but like they have stuff pretty somewhat regularly coming out, you know, like every week 2-ish. It doesn't have to be every single project you put out doesn't have to be the best thing in the world, unless that's like the way that you want to do it. Or like every single project you do has to be a big project. If that's the way you want to do it, that's completely fine.
Yeah.
But I think the best way to keep your community, you know, growing with you and keep things moving is to put out, you know, your big project, and in between your big projects, you do some small stuff. Maybe you do like a joke thing for fun. I posted a song about Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes.
Like, because I was just screwing around. And I thought I'd be like stupid enough to like, you know, post it. It was just funny. But that was like something where I didn't want to spend a lot of time on that. I may just kind of like.
Imagine if you spent a year polishing that Thomas the Tank Engine.
It would be the best piece of content for Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah. But no, it's just
what a niche.
And even you don't have to like, post like big content. It would just be like engaging community posts, you know, where it's like post a poll about something, or you know, you post like a picture like, oh, I'm doing this thing, it's progress, you know, hope you guys are doing well, love you guys, smooch. I don't know. It's just, you know, my personal way I want to try and get into is that exact thing where, you know, you post your big project and you post some stuff in between, you know, for fun. You know, all of it's for fun, but just to help keep things decently paced.
And I feel like by posting stuff, instead of just holding on to one thing for a year while you polish it,
right,
you might even grow or you might even learn faster because you get feedback from other people by posting stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I can say for me, it's so tricky because there's been some projects that I've been working on for the last like 3 or 4 months, right? There's been some songs that have been kind of essentially done for the last couple months, and I'm working on like this like post-production for the video. And sometimes it takes a while, you know, to make it, you know, the quality I want it to. Now, that's me wanting to have these really cool and big productions with really big ideas with my kind of low-ish budget. But because of that, I realized, well, I talk about having all these projects happening. Like, I'd say I have like 3 big projects happening at the same time. Cool, but then like 3 months later is when they're going to come out. So it's just, in that meantime, I'm just kind of like, so hope you guys doing well, you know. You know, so that's
They'll be there soon, guys.
Yeah, dude, the thing I hate doing is being like, guys, I promise things are coming. Trust me. Just put a little faith into the system, you know.
But do you think that helps also in the sense that, like, you're kind of getting them on the edge of their seats, like, oh, something's coming, and like, they'll stay longer because they know they have something to look forward to. To
a certain point, I think it helps having that thing, but you also have to have those in between things so that they know that you're still doing stuff, and they still. I think, honestly, if you have a big project, you know, over the course of like, once again, let's do maximum. It's like a year. It takes a year for this super big animation. You know, you want to do it 2D frame by frame animation for your song. Crazy, you know, and it takes a year to do it. You shouldn't, you know, be like that entire year. The only thing that you're posting, you're saying is like, all right, this thing's doing well, so just wait. Yeah. Guys, the intro was just finished. It's crazy. Can't wait for you to see it.
Can we see it? No. You gotta wait for the rest.
Why would you want to see it?
No, but you want content?
You want content? What are you talking about? That's crazy. You're crazy. That's great. No, so that's why it's like you have to also keep things going. You can have those super big projects, but you can't just have that be the only thing you're doing and saying, because then it's like, you know, it feels like, okay, cool, you're kind of getting dragged along. You're not getting anything. You know, the people I like, they sometimes have pretty big projects that they're working on for like a good chunk of months. But also, the only thing, you know, like in their community post, they'll make a video, or they'll make like a teaser trailer, you know, for it, you know. But that's also in between all of their other projects they're doing, you know. Because if it was just that, I would stop watching their stuff, and then it's just like, you know, by the time they post it, I might not be that engaged in their community anymore. I might not be that interested. You know, I might still want to watch that video, but I've kind of lost that momentum. You know, there's not many channels that post like one thing every 6 months, you know, and have like a really, really active community. There's some that do, but it's really hard to get to that certain point. So I don't know.
Is it common for music channels to post consistently?
Depends on, your level, like how experienced you are with music.
Like, would you like to be at the point where you're posting songs consistently, or would you rather be more kind of you post an album once a year or 2 years or something that?
I'd say for the next chunky years, I'd like to be consistent. I have a lot of stuff. I have a lot of ideas. I'm in like the prime of my life, and just want to really try and get things going. But also, inevitably, I would like to get to a point where I can slow down and have these albums and these collection of things that I can get out, and not have to be, having everything so fast paced. If I have this, community built and all that, then maybe I can give myself a little more leisure into putting some space in between projects. And I do think eventually I'd want to give more time. But I think right now when I have this energy and I have this, super strong will to really go and put these projects out, I really want to do that. And then, honestly, the thing holding me back from putting out more content is just not having the budget to make things run faster. I have like a bunch of tracks, ready to get out there, but I have this kind of mindset with my content where I want to, if I feel super passionate about the song, I want the visuals alongside it to really also go along with that. I don't want it to be like this like really boring video, but like super cool song, but then like it's just kind of like.
And you're good. You're good. The video qualities of your videos have been getting like exponentially better. Yeah. Like they're looking like professional music videos.
I appreciate that. My wallet is so sad. It's so sad. No, but I mean that's just kind of like because I've learned more, about the process of like doing these super cool things in Premiere Pro and After Effects and editing, and then I've started to like grasp this certain like style I really like, where create like these like 2D animations, but like with like a 3D thing. So it's still kind of like a lyric video, but it's a really I feel like it's a lot more engaging of a lyric video. And then when I'm doing music videos, I try and make them like really interesting, like and really at least to where I can do it engaged. There's Second for Life, which is a song I made about backrooms, and that one was purely me. Like I just learned After Effects like the month before, and I learned how to like make like basic squares and stuff in like 3-dimensional settings. And so literally I just I thought it'd be a cool idea with the whole theming of like sound and the simple like nature of the backrooms to make it like a really simple look for the video. And so I just went for it. I made this whole music video like the best I could, and I don't know, I love the songs I do, but I also think the people that I enjoy watching and the content that I really love, the thing I love about their content as well is it's the work they put into the visuals. They're not lazy with that portion, and I think you don't have to do crazy visuals.
Do you think having good visuals also just makes the viewer, I don't know if it's like subconscious, just like think the song is better itself? Just because it looks like if the video is professional, then your mind will be like, oh well, the video is professional, the song is also professional.
I think there's been times where I've seen people post like really amazing music videos, and I think the song's all right, but they're not exactly professional yet. I'm not professional, but it's the song could be better, in certain aspects, but the video is outstanding. At that point, you look at the comments and seeing like the song, they see like comments like, oh, the song's good, but then they go like, oh, the video is outstanding and all that. And I think sometimes that can actually carry it. I don't think it carries it much, because if you're at that point, I don't know. There's a certain point where your music has to step up. If you're creating music and that's what you do, I think your visuals can only go so far. I think sometimes, the opposite happens a lot, where someone that is amazing at making and mixing and mastering their songs, puts it out this amazing song, but then the video is like, it could be better. There's been some times where it's like this super talented artist puts out the song, and the visuals, sometimes I'm like, oh man, that kind of like worsens the quality of this product, because it's like I'm too distracted by the visuals and like certain like weird things with the visuals that it kind of distracts from the experience of the song. Some people just put like a simple like looping video over their thing for a song. They just put like a little audio visualizer, like I do with my remixes. Sometimes people just put a still image for video. That's fine. For me, I love big production, videos. There's this one channel which I absolutely adore. They're called the Stupendium, and they do stuff that I do, except with the visuals. Well, they're a lot more theatrical, which is super super cool. And the thing that they end up doing with their visuals is they make it all live action, right? Well, mostly live action. They're also a really talented artist, but they make it all live action, which I personally feel like doing stuff in live action feels like a hindrance sometimes, because you have to, deal with like the quality of the equipment you have and the quality of, all this stuff. And, somehow they make it just super well produced. And they create these amazing sets and these super well done effects while doing it all like live action. It's super cool. And that's like one of those things where, their songs are great and their videos make it just that much better. It makes the music evolve in a way, and so, that stuff kind of like inspires me to really want to try and put this really good effort into making my videos the best I can, to really evolve the experience.
Do you think some of that also comes from when you first started YouTube, you were trying skits and you said like you enjoyed editing them? Maybe part of that is like you like the video aspect of just creating videos as well.
Now, don't get me wrong. I like editing when I know what I'm doing.
Oh, that's fair.
There's been so many times like projects where, like I said, I see like an effect someone does and I'm like, that's so, like on this random tutorial, just like, oh, there's a super easy thing that you can do. I'm like, now I'm going to do that, but I don't know how to do, and it's just, and it gets super stressful. There's like this one song that I literally have done, all the visuals are done, but After Effects is being, is taking my video hostage because it keeps crashing during export.
That's terrible.
And that stuff, I hate editing for all of that. But at the same time, when I have like an idea and I feel like I can fully commit to like creating that myself, it's just super fulfilling, thing. A lot of people have to like reach out to get editors and, After Effects people to like do these, things. And I think sometimes taking your ideas into your own hands and not only that, be able to accomplish those things, it's super fulfilling like accomplishment. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little part of like the old early stuff where I really did, all I did was video edit, and that was all, me. I never, I wanted to get someone to edit this stuff for me, but I couldn't, so I ended up, having to work myself.
Yeah, you were like trying to get your friends in high school like to work for you.
The amount of people I was like, so, I was friends with like, hey, so like, are you really interested in editing? Does I really want to edit, There's this one.
Didn't you do the same with like camera people as well? Kind of?
Yeah. It never worked out.
I admired that though. It's like you were in high school and you were already trying to optimize your creating process.
It's funny during like when I was doing remixes a lot. There was I actually started trying to like with like friends I had started trying to like hire them into doing editing, which was so funny. I set up like this whole like editing course, like this 3-step course of like, all right, and I'd like record this video. It's like, all right, now I want you to do these certain edits with this and send me the full product. And I had this whole like chain like tutorial thing happen. And I was like super cool, super confident about it. And I was like, it never worked out because I realized, oh wow, high schoolers really don't want to be doing work.
Yeah, dude, I'm realizing I've literally only done 2 episodes of this podcast, and I'm already realizing editing it, like it. So let's say the podcast is an hour. It's going to take longer than an hour to edit because you have to watch through it and then pause and then cut to switch. And I'm sure I was talking to you about it at the beginning. I either want to see if there's some type of faster way to do it, like live switching, or just pay someone to do the editing there. Because I don't know if I can continue the editing in college.
I don't know how you feel about the whole like success is built off of, your bank account,
I haven't heard that, but that makes sense.
Well, there's the whole thing where it's like the more money you have, some people believe that you're going to end up being more successful. And honestly, I feel like that partially has some truth to it. Yeah. If you can hire people to do all the difficult work and do it really like in a professional way, you can have professional stuff. And that sometimes is like really tricky because it's like there's some times where I'm like, if I had like 1,000 more bucks, oh man, this video. Whew.
It's funny because 1,000 is so much for us right now.
It's like in the grand scheme of things, like 1,000 like covers like a month of rent in some places, and no, but it's I don't know. I just but. I forgot the point I was going to.
You're talking about like outsourcing kind of, and just your bank building your quality and stuff by outsourcing.
Going for outsourcing. That's because I've been doing a lot more recently. I don't know how much like I've talked to you about it, but I feel like it's probably a bit where me and Fiverr, we're like best buds. Fiverr essentially is this website where you can go and hire people to do these different jobs for you. In the past, it was kind of seen as a little more of a joke because people would do it for like YouTube videos for fun, like do these like crazy things, and now actually I think it's built itself to be a pretty decent platform. I've been you're good. I've been finding like really amazing artists and really talented animators and all these crazy things, and then I feel super inspired to work with these people, and then I realize I can't afford them. So I have to like gauge, limit, handle finances, be fair.
Do you ever negotiate on Fiverr?
I try not to because I sometimes feel bad. Sometimes I do if it's like a situation where I literally can't afford it otherwise because of other stuff going on and things I know I'm going to pay for the future. I don't think negotiating is a bad thing, per se, because sometimes the Fiverr listings, the way they list their things, sometimes they list it high in general, just as like a big thing, and then you can sort of like work around the price based off of what you want specifically. So I don't know. I don't think working out a different price is always bad. I think it's one of those things where you're trying to like, listen. I know this product is usually $100, but if we can slip it down to 15, I think that would really fit my price
That's
range.
some good negotiating.
It's just I don't know. You have to talk with the artist and talk, with yourself and see like what works best for both of you. At the end of the day, if the artist doesn't want to do it, then they'll say, that's not comfortable. I don't really like, I want to bring it down that low. And you're like, okay, cool. Then we can, rest at this price. If this works for both of us for this work, and then go from there. And also usually at that point, if I work it down, then I probably tip,
Oh, okay. That's nice.
But I don't know. Working, I think sometimes it's really difficult to work by yourself because you have to learn all the things yourself and you rely on the quality of content on yourself. And if you don't feel like you can match that or you don't have that level of experience, it can be super difficult. On the other hand, having other people work for you, I feel like I've learned it can be super difficult.
Yeah, you've had a few horror stories.
I've had a couple of horror stories. And they're learning experiences, and it's really good that, it sucks what I had to like lose a bunch of money or lose, experiences, lose, certain clients or people. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's to become a better, better commissioner, become a better person, become a, more, honest person with the way you do things. I think starting out, I was definitely like, it's when you're hiring people to do stuff, I think sometimes it's hard to realize how much work or how much it actually should cost for things to be done. Yeah. So for art, when I was starting out, I didn't, and I'm so glad I'm aware of the process now. I didn't realize how much work goes into making just a simple illustration. Oh
yeah.
It's like it takes a lot of time and effort, even for professionals. Who can seemingly whip things up super quick. It still is a lot of work. And for me, I don't know. I kind of underestimated it. So I was thinking like, okay, so I can go and hire these things for, this illustration for like maybe like $15-$30. And then you go and you find out it's like, oh yeah, it probably is like 70 to 100. It's like, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. I remember the first things I ordered for it was like when I did the Discord debate series.
Oh yeah.
And those thumbnails cost a bit.
How much?
I think it was like one of them was like 70, one of them was like 120 something. They cost a lot. Custom art costs a lot, and for a good reason. It's every single detail has to be done by that person. And if you want it high quality and you want a lot of detail, they have to do that all by themselves. So, I don't know. It takes a lot of effort to do that stuff. And thankfully, through commissioning people, and a lot of people I've had to commission, it's cool learning, these different things I never would have thought of before. And, like, wanting to be better and a kinder, commissioner, in that way, be able to respect people's, like, needs and wishes, like, I think that early on I accidentally overstepped, where I was kind of like, I assumed too much about what they could do because I thought I knew, like, the process, but I really didn't know that much, and by doing it and by learning and having to, go through that stuff, it's been really interesting, learning face on with that stuff.
Does it ever get hard because you are paying them to make art specifically for you, right? So you want something specific, but at the same time, they're an artist who has subjective opinions. Is it ever hard balancing that where maybe you want them to have some freedom in how they do it, but at the same time, you're paying for a specific thing?
Absolutely. Well, because it's one thing, like, main thing that I've learned to do is really respect the artist for their styles, and don't push them to do things that they are not used to doing. Because if they don't want to do that, then, don't do that. Don't push them to do things they don't want to do. But also at the same time, if they are willing to do that, but they're not used to that, sometimes it can lead to some not good results because they're just trying something for the first time. But what's the question again? Sorry.
Yeah, basically, how do you balance? Like, you want them to feel free to kind of do what they're doing because they're an artist, right? So they have their subjective opinions, but at the same time, you're paying for a specific thing that you want.
Right.
Like, you want it done a certain way, probably.
I've had a lot of situations where, because I do a lot of stuff myself in the process of making music, where I make the entire thing, I mix it, I master it. With editing, I edit all the stuff myself. So when it comes to art, sometimes it's difficult to think about the fact, like, oh man, I've handled so much of the process myself, and I have to, let this person take a huge part in my production. I don't have, like, 100% say in how it goes because they have their own styles and their own ways they do it. Now, when you're hiring people, there's certain things, like, things you can control, like the timeline. If you get a timeline to do it, then yeah, the general direction you want to go for, you can agree on that stuff. But, sometimes it has been difficult thinking, and especially the more money you spend on it too, it's where, like, you can't control every single aspect of it. In my experience has been like, oh man, but what if I get this thing when it's, like, delivered and it's just nothing how I, like, was, like, wanting it to, but also, like, you can't tell them to redo the entire thing, so it's like you have to kind of, like, move on. And I've had to do that sometimes. Where
do you get money back in those? Like, how does that work?
Not really, no, because, like, here's the thing, right? You hire them to do something, right? And you both follow the guidelines in which you should be doing it. If they say they're going to give updates in this time period, then they do it, cool. If they say that I get this many revisions and I do that many revisions, cool, we're following that thing. At the end of the day, though, if they end up with a product I don't like, but we kind of went and we, agreed on everything up to that point, there's nothing, like, misconstrued or bad happening, you have to kind of just go with that. Either in taking that piece of art and then, doing something with that and still using that, but just kind of, like, going with the flow. Or sometimes you just have to hire another person, to do it, differently. Yeah. Or I've had times where I've hired an artist to do something, and we both respected each other's, like, wishes, and it was an overall good process. But the end product was just not what I was looking for, and in their shoes, they just spent, like, let's say 20 hours working on this piece of art for you, and then if the person doesn't like it and you did all the things that you asked but interpreted it differently, you don't get the money. For me, I don't think it's fair to, like, make it so I don't pay them, or, like, try and, like, fight that stuff.
Do you think you're just, like, a nice person, or is that a comment? Because
I don't know. Honestly, that's the way I see it, I guess.
I'm curious, like, how often it is, like, people would pay, or if they didn't like it, they'd be like, well, it's not what I wanted, so no.
Well, I think it depends, Yeah. Like, first off, I think I don't know. I try to be careful in this territory because I want to also respect artists. But I think from what I've seen and what my personal opinion is, as an artist in any form, like a music artist, editor, any of that stuff, you have to, like, if you're doing something for your client, you can't just like spend 30 days doing it and then the first time they see it is the end product.
Okay.
I feel like,
so constant updates.
Unless you're okay with unless you're 100% okay with making all those changes they want, or as well as the person that's hiring that, is okay with, waiting longer for those changes to happen, I think the respectful thing to do is to give somewhat, often updates. That's just my personal opinion because that helps you as the artist not have to waste time redoing all of your work, and it's respect to the person that commissioned you, because then, that's kind of helping you get to the goal they want, and not kind of losing sight of what they were trying to envision, what their goal is,
Yeah, that seems like a very good strategy, actually.
That's what I try and, that's when I hire people nowadays, I try and make sure it's very clear where it's like, I don't want like every single day updates, Yeah. I would take it because I love updates. I adore updates, Well, because it's, you get to see your thing and the progress they're making to it. I think it's fun. But also, on top of that, I think it's super important because there's been times where I've worked with people and they work on something for like 2 weeks. And then they went from nothing to what they had in 2 weeks. And they did a lot. And they showed it to me. I'm like,
damn.
Hey, I need these things adjusted. And they're like, oh, that's a thing that like I worked in the beginning. I have to change everything. I'm like, oh. But that's not what that's not what I asked for. And like that's went against what we talked about in our agreement with the whole.
Would an ideal situation be just having like an animator, for example, and trust that just consistently works for you?
Yes. I want an anime. That's what I want to try and find. Like I want to, by getting myself out there and building a community and really.
I feel like college might be a great place for that.
Yeah, exactly. Go to college, if not for education, for connections.
Honestly,
literally,
that's a lot of people's reasons.
But I want to have a consistent group of people to work on for this stuff, because then if you trust them with the art they do and they're consistent and they're reliable, that's perfect. I would love the feeling of having a person where I'm like, okay, I want something with this style, maybe this storyline for the video, in the direction of the art or the animation, and then we agree on it, and they're like, cool. And I don't have to worry about, like, if it's going to be something I am not going to like, There's, hiring random people online to do stuff for you can be scary, There's people that also like scamming. There's this thing that I've seen that I've been a victim of, but is terrifying. Where on Fiverr, people will pretend they're an artist, and then they'll have all these pictures that aren't their own, but they post examples of things they've done, and they make it a high price. And then when you commission that thing from them, they take let's say you paid $200 for them. They create this amazing piece of art. They take that $200 and go to another artist on Fiverr, and then pay $100 for that person to do the art. And then they just got $100.
Wow,
for
people
nothing.
do that?
Yes, it is.
Terrifying. It's kind of smart, but it's also fun.
It is so scary because then it's you're paying. It's just a whole mess. But I don't know, and I've gotten some sense of reliability in certain people. There's this character artist that I've been using for the last couple of cartoon-ish art pieces. It's the one I've used for the Cuphead song, and the one I'm going to be using for the Sonic song. I don't know when this comes out, but that's...
There is a Sonic song either out or coming out.
Oh. Yeah. But no, that I'm using, and the great thing is, it costs a bit for them to do the work, but because they're super talented, and when I go and pay them and they go and do that work, I can guarantee it's gonna be good. Literally, it was so funny. There's with the Sonic one, I hired them to do the beginning part, and then I think I got the first round of art, and I was the sketch or the outline. I'm like, okay, I think this is good. For a second I was like, I started worrying like, oh, but what if it starts like the coloring's weird? And then no, it's like they're brilliant. They do great. The Fiverr product was so good. It was beautiful. And then it's just that makes me feel so good. Like putting my money into someone I trust and I know I'll get a good like outcome. It's so nice. And there's been times recently where I'm doing bigger projects and I have to spend more money on these people, but where I don't really know them, And I trust they're good because I look at their work, and the more expensive they are typically, and they're like if they're a professional, they'll have a lot of examples of their stuff, and so there's a
portfolio.
Exactly, and there's a bit more trust there. But there's always that sense of I haven't worked with them yet, and I don't know if they're gonna match the style that I want or the vision that I want. And when it's expensive like that, it's tricky. There's this thing that I'm gonna be spending a bit of money on for this song upcoming. That's gonna kind of break my wallet a bit, and I love this person's work. I love their art, I love their animations, and I trust they'll do a good job. But it's so tricky for me to be like, I don't have 100% control, so I can't guarantee what the outcome will be like. And because of that sometimes scares me,
Yeah.
But you have to have trust in the artist, and you have to like have faith in it, and have faith in the system, faith in the Lord.
Oh yeah. Amen.
No, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's been super interesting, like starting to hire people for this, because I don't have a crew, but I'm, it's a similar-ish feeling to like have these people that you're hiring out to do stuff for your, have like this, collective group of people work on this thing. For my song Beautiful Goodbyes, the amount of people that worked on that total was the most I've had anyone work on a project. I had, someone help me compose and, play the piano. Yeah. I had someone, I hired for the saxophone and trumpet.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you did that.
I had
really cool.
I had an artist along with a person to animate that art, It's super. It was a lot of people, and I was so proud of that product. And but it felt so cool just having this like community of people that all like went to something that I'm super passionate about. It was such like a cool and weird feeling,
Yeah.
Like imagine like with this podcast, imagine like you have this whole crew behind, the scenes like working on this stuff, and then
yeah, that's some guys.
Yeah. You can't see it, but there's like 50 people just dead silent back there. You going and editing the whole thing and doing all this stuff for you, and then all just for your content.
That must be nice.
It's a cool feeling,
Actually, kind of on top, like kind of related to that,
right?
Because it seems like I started to view YouTube or things like this kind of as an RPG, where it's like you start out with basic equipment, right, and then as time goes on, you get like resources such as money and finances from the stuff you're creating, and then you could use that to get better equipment. It's like a feedback cycle, and I've noticed you kind of have started doing that. How does that feel?
Well, first off, that's actually a really good analogy.
Thank you.
Like through that RPG, you start to get better equipment. You start to pick up like people for your group.
Yeah,
that's kind of a cool. That actually works. It's been interesting because I'm really dedicated to this. I'm going to college for music, so I'm like really focused in on this. And so when I go to work and I make money, and when I go and make money from YouTube, most of that's going to stuff for this. Like that's the funny thing about like my sort of life cycle right now is a lot of the things I end up doing end up streamlining into my content, just because I always want to try and increase the quality and make things better in some way, There's like a point where I started doing music and I wanted, a better microphone, so I got a better microphone. And then I was worrying about, the programs, so I got a better program. And then it kind of started building into this thing where, to the point where when people walk into like my room, well, first off, they acknowledge that like everything's like messed up because I don't make my bed. I don't make my bed. If you make your bed, you're kind of a psychopath. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh. Well, we'll have to agree to disagree on that.
Okay, so I think people that make the bed is a psychopath, but no, I think, but they look at like my setup like, oh my gosh, you have like a crazy setup. I kind of don't realize like, I have like a bunch of stuff, like this whole microphone connecting to like this, this machine that plugs.
Say every time I come to your house, there's a new thing.
There's a new like
some weird like
gadget.
sound tube that prevents sound from sounding
and all this like
weird.
sound dampening stuff around.
Yeah.
it's kind of cool because, you're slowly upgrading your quality. And not only that, you're upgrading your equipment, but you're also upgrading the amount of knowledge you have in your stuff, because the more you're doing your content, the more you're doing the stuff that you're passionate about, you're also learning more. So it's kind of interesting where you're building every single aspect of what you want to do, And I think the visualization of the equipment is a great example of like the progression of that. But I don't know. I think it's super interesting. I get so scared though, because the more stuff I get and the more expensive stuff I get, I'm like going back and forth between college, and I'm gonna be living in a dorm, and there's nothing more terrifying about like sharing a living space with people I don't know with equipment that's worth more than I want to pay for again, nor than I can pay for again. It's like I all these like things where I feel like if someone stole my computer, I'm like, I don't know what I do. Like I have things like kind of backed up, right?
Yeah.
But if someone stole like my computer or all of my microphone stuff and equipment, I'm like, I don't know what I do. I don't have the money right now to.
I think about that. Like if I drop my computer one day, my laptop, I literally it's how I do all my work for school. This podcast, just everything.
Yeah,
I would
it's
just
gone.
I don't know what I. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Not a good way to look at it, but
no,
it's a good point.
It's because like the people that are like, okay, big YouTubers, right? They can afford really cool equipment, and that I'm like so envious of. There's side rant. There's the channel Una's Honest.
Oh yeah.
That on YouTube, which I loved. It was such a cool series and such a cool idea. But for whatever reason, one of the things I was mainly fascinated by was their cameras were so good.
Really?
The equipment was super good. Like, I don't know, they're just doing live content. You think about live content, you can do that, from your phone. Just going and doing stuff outside or in your house. You can do that with whatever camera. But, they have like such a great setup, for such these simple ideas. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm going to get this camera and this lens, because I'm really dedicating myself to getting good stuff. And of course, like the lens is like thousands of dollars. I'm like, you know what? I think that dream just stopped. I think that line of thought is just been cut off.
Does it ever get scary too? Because you're putting a lot of money into these videos and I mean, you've made money off your videos, but I don't think you're making like a consistent stream of money.
Oh, no.
Right? So do you ever put a ton of money into one hoping like, okay, because I put money into this, I need to make enough views to make it back, and then it does not do that?
So the interesting thing is right now, my focus is not about making money back.
Okay.
I don't think I'm at a point where I really will.
That makes sense.
Well, and let's be clear. If I was not putting money into my videos, I don't know if people are coming to my content mainly for the songs or they like the song video, collaborative thing. Mm-hmm. Usually the thing I spend money on is videos, just to be completely honest. And because of that, right now where I'm at, my goal is to spend the money I'm making off of like YouTube and all that and from working onto like really cool projects and products to build this sort of like portfolio, to build this collection of stuff that people can see. Because, if I make... And here's a really big thing. I don't want to like get super, super famous right now. I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm in a good place to do that. If OFunny got 100 million views, that'd be so cool. First off, it wouldn't happen.
Hey, you never know. It could still pop off.
I don't even think that franchise of Mandela Catalog
has 100 million.
No. But on top of that, I just, if I got like super well known from that one thing, I don't want to be famous yet because, not that I'm expecting to be famous. I don't.
I see it happening.
I have dreams and wishes, but we can't hope. But if I get popular, like super popular right now, and I get like thousands and thousands, like hundreds of thousands of subscribers right now, I have a bunch of eyes on me when I still have a lot to learn from my production process, from, learning to be a better musician and learning to be a better content creator, learning to be a better person. I have a lot of things I want to grow on and really strive to be better at before I become, a big influence.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Like, not only is it hard to become famous, right? Mm-hmm. But you want to time it, because if you get famous too quickly,
right,
then it's like you have so much pressure right away that you, like, I feel like gradually becoming more popular seems to be the best.
Oh,
way.
absolutely. Because okay, and not even just thinking about like the quality of the content. Let's talk about like the most well-known example of like being famous super early. It's like Justin Bieber with his with the one song that got
Baby.
Super popular. Literally, his life changed after that one song, and I don't think
it's so drastic.
I don't think for always the better.
Yeah.
I forget if he said this, but I feel like there's a lot of things that I think he wish he could have changed, and I feel like a lot of that comes from being in the lights and being in the media and all that early on. When you're still trying to grow and figure out who you are and who you want to be. Now obviously I'm not like 10. Well, I don't know how old I was. No, but I'm still at a point where it's like I want to be a better artist. I want to be a better person because I want to be a better influence for people. If I ever get to be an influence on a lot of people, I want to be a better person, a better artist, to be a better influence. Because I don't know, I just want to be. I want to be a good example. I want to be a really strong person in the communities. I want to be really involved, and I don't know. At the current point, I think I could manage that right now. If for whatever reason, like Tom's the Tank Engine song just goes nuts.
Guys, play it up.
Yo, guys, get on Spotify.
To the moon,
But no, like if that stuff happens right now, I feel like I could make things work and slowly figure myself out. But I don't know. I don't think I'm ready for it yet.
Yeah. Especially when you hear like just famous people in general saying fame in general is just like they sometimes wish they weren't famous. So then getting that, but like right away without being prepared at all, seems even more crazy.
And when I was growing up, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, because to be really honest, the thing I always consistently felt like I wanted to do was something with YouTube, because I sometimes I went away from it because I felt like it's one of those unrealistic goals or jobs, where it's like
it's becoming a lot less. It's becoming a lot less unrealistic these days. Oh yeah, isn't that crazy?
But like, I think it's just you talk about that, and then first off, parents usually are like, okay, right? Well, that's just a lost cause of a kid. No, but it's just there's a lot of like, oh, cool, you're gonna go and try and roll the dice with the statistics, and hopefully something works out. But I don't know. I also was really interested in being an actor because, also in high school, I was in theater for a bit, and that was super fun. I had so
17 again.
Yeah, I was in the popular musical 17 again. That's for another day.
Yes.
What a time. No, but I really wanted to be an actor. But one of the things that actually drove me off from it was the idea of being famous. Now, if I get, popular on YouTube, I could become famous through YouTube, but the difference is famous as an actor feels so much. It feels like there could not be an escape. Once your face is on like enough media and people know who you are, like you can go anywhere and odds are you'll probably get recognized. And so your life is just changed completely. I feel like if you get famous on YouTube, most of the time, like you can get you might get people that walk up to you and say hi and that recognize you in your content, but I don't think it's to the point where it destroys your life. Oddball examples are like PewDiePie, where it's like, yeah, when you get that many subscribers, you're gonna.
Yeah, and then you got to move to Tokyo.
Then you got to move to
another country where people might not know you.
So honestly, so cool. I've wanted to go to Japan. I feel like it's like I think a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, Japan, because it's so different. It's so no, but the culture there is so interesting. Have you seen those I think it is in Tokyo, Japan, where there's like the buildings on one floor, it's like a restaurant. And the second floor, it's like an arcade, and the third place is like a grocer.
That's a thing.
It's crazy. They literally just stack buildings on each other.
That sounds really cool. But like, actually.
Yeah, like have you ever been to like a 3-4 CVS?
No, what's that? A 3-4 CVS?
No, 3 floors.
Oh, No. They have those in Japan?
No, but like just like it's just like the idea of like, you know, you have like imagining that. I don't know why I thought like 3 floors of a CVS is like, this is mind changing.
Well, so many prescriptions.
I can walk up and get my paper towels versus going on the same floor. Oh my gosh. No, it's actually probably not a good business move. I don't know. I think it's just that, but like crazy. And there's this one place. Listen.
Crazy 3-floor Steve.
Crazy 3-floor experience. No, there's just one place especially. There's like one YouTuber that went here and talked about it. I thought it was so cool where you go into this place and you fish for your food.
Whoa.
You go in there and you fish and you catch it, and the chef's like, "All right, thanks, champ," and then just goes and cooks it.
So
and
interactive.
Serves it to your table. That's crazy. And also, you know, everything else is cool about, you know, the place. But the fish! Is so cool. Fish. No, anyways. Going back, I just think it's just... I wanted to go for YouTube because I wanted to become an influence in some way, because I have a lot of things I want to do, a lot of big ideas and a lot of cool things, you know? I think the charity stuff that Mr. Beast does is really cool. And I don't know if I'll be able to get to his point, you know, but theoretically, if I could, you know, the stuff he does is amazing. And I just feel like I could handle YouTube fame and, you know, all that. I don't think I'd be able to handle, like, Hollywood fame.
It's a lot more mainstream. Right?
It feels so, like...
Even though YouTube's kind of, you know, it's...
Imagine being, like...
It's kind of fighting them.
Imagine being, like... Who's a famous... Harry Potter boy, who's
Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yes, he's the Harry Potter boy.
He's the Harry Potter boy. Trademark pending. I think he goes anywhere, odds are he's gonna get recognized. Dude, if he walks down the street and I'm driving by, I'm like, Harry Potter boy, yeah, that's you. And
that's what you do?
I'm gonna do that.
I actually had a question. Do you think would you rather... Let's say someone recognizes you on the street. Would you rather them recognize you as you yourself, like your personality, or be like Daniel Radcliffe gets recognized as Harry Potter? You know, like a
so
character.
You're asking if like I'd rather be known as like recognized as Brasma or Bree? Good question.
Because at least I think Brasma. When you're a character, you can like separate yourself a bit.
Here's what it is, Brasma, because I just feel like when someone random comes up to me, you know, and is like, oh my gosh, Breanna Stephens, oh my gosh, you're so cool. I know you. You know? I don't know.
I know you. I know you so well.
I think I know everything. I know you more than you know yourself. I hope you know. No, it's like, okay, honestly, probably. And my memory is not that good. But I think Brasma, because in that sense, you know, there is a little bit of separation from me as a person and me as a content creator, and like as the kind of persona I have. I don't know if for a while I was really debating early on if I wanted Brasma to be like, you know, Brasma is this totally separate person. You know, you go on stage as Brasma, it's like, what's up, chili dog lovers? It's Brasma, you know, versus like me, it's like
the catchphrase.
What's up, guys? Yeah,
chili dog lovers.
Yeah, you know, I just think. I want Brasma to essentially be, you know, essentially me, but at the same time, I don't want it to be a thing where I have people walking up and be like, I know you more than your friends know you, and you know, that kind of thing where it's like, oh my gosh.
Like the parasocial relationship.
Yeah, that thing, you know? Yeah. Where, it's like, if someone calls my name Breanna, it's like, I think like, oh, a friend's coming up. Who are you? Yeah. Oh, camera. No.
Camera.
And listen, I once again, it's not one of those things that's like, man, you know, when that's going to be happening next year, I can't wait for that. It's like, I'm not expecting that stuff to happen, you know, because I'm already doing like a somewhat niche thing, you know, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I would love to be to a point where I have a big audience and stuff. But, you know, theoretically, if that does happen, I would prefer if it doesn't feel, you know, like, you know, people just come up and know me, you know, and they know me like they know my mom knows me, you know, like that kind of thing.
No, I totally get that.
Yeah.
So I actually have a lot more questions. I want to ask more about your like music life and like more like technical things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that could go on for like an hour or two.
Absolutely.
And we are like an hour and 45 minutes in. So I'm hoping you'd be willing to be on again so we can discuss that stuff. So I think we're going to wrap it up. But I have one more question I'd like to ask everyone.
Right.
So
everyone.
Yeah, I could.
Including the 50 people in the back?
Yeah. So you guys just be ready to switch seats. But yeah, so basically, what is one thing that you've learned in your life that you feel has impacted your life significantly?
It's impacted. I know well, at least the thing that sticks out to me most is I spent a lot of time not knowing what I was wanting or meant to do, you know? I feel like the main thing a lot of people, you know, end up finding themselves in some point in their life is, what is my goal? What is my purpose? What should I do? And, you know, what am I living for? Which sounds very dramatic, you know? But
that's a good question.
But it's just, you know, my freshman and sophomore year, I did start doing YouTube stuff, but, and including middle school, essentially mostly what I did was play games. You know, I'd go to school, go back home, I'd play games. Sometimes I'd hang out with people, but I really didn't always do that. I wasn't very social, even though I kind of wanted to be. I really wasn't. And so I'd kind of stay and just play games, you know? And then came my junior year where I went into theater. And then when I started like doing this different thing, I realized I was passionate about it in some way because it was entertainment and I loved it. And started being more social. I started like really think about, what do I want to do with myself? And I started to think like, okay, well, I have this YouTube thing I've been doing for a bit and I don't, you know, I've been kind of half-assing it a little bit. I could be doing more with it. I have goals and I have things I really want to achieve, but if I just don't go for it, I don't know what I'm doing it for then, you know? I can't just do things I kind of want to do, but not really make strides to do it the best I can in the way that I want to do it. So I started to realize that if I don't push myself to do things that I truly want to do and to go and like kind of break the mold of my life and to kind of make the unfamiliar familiar in some way, you know, if I don't start to like do these different things I'm really passionate about, but do these difficult things I've never done, I don't know. I would probably be going to college for something I don't really like, you know, that I like enough I can get by with. Probably be in my room watching YouTube and still eating mac and cheese. I still eat mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is pretty good. Oh, no, but yeah,
agree to disagree with.
Yeah, okay, well that's kind of messed up for you. Yeah, no, okay. The main point is I realized I have goals, and even there, though I have like some simpler goals than others, I have goals, and there's not a point or age or any of that where it's like suddenly right to start to do them. I think the best time to do it is when you are able to, when you're ready to go and do that stuff. I decided to go and make strides and like, I want to go and make music. I really want to go and do this stuff that I've enjoyed people doing online. I see these people and I'm like, I'm so inspired, but I don't know, it seems like a lot of work because I have to learn all these different things. But then I suddenly just started doing it, and I started like really going forward with it. You know, I'd spend less money on like things like, you know, like sounds dumb, like, but candy and games, but you know, more money on like my productions and getting better equipment and really going for what I wanted to do. And you know, because of that, I'm going to college for this, and I'm having such a great time doing it. And on top of that, I don't know, I've been able to start building a community and having some parts of success in this thing that I never thought I would be able to do, you know? And so the main point is to just, if you have goals, I feel like you really should just sit down with yourself and like, if you really want to do something, you have to do it. Like, if you, okay, well, murder, no, right? Okay.
Not murder, guys.
No murder.
That's your goal? Find another goal.
That's kind of a tough goal, to be honest. That's kind of, no, but if you have something you really want to do, why not do it? It might be embarrassing. It might be awkward. Doing YouTube stuff, it's super awkward because you're starting out, you're trying to do entertainment, it's super weird, and it's kind of uncomfortable. But then you keep doing it, you get better. And if you get better, it becomes more natural. And then then you look back at like your progress and you realize, I can't believe I've gotten to the point where I'm at. And you look forward and you realize that being professional and getting better feels so much more achievable. It still is far away. My goals that I have for the future still feel very far away. But it's the fact that I've started this path of doing these things and doing these ideas that I really wanted to do. And because of it, I've been able to make these strides. And making music and making these videos has made me probably the happiest I've been in a long time, if not ever,
Yeah. And it's because it seems like you have something like, now you're striving towards, you're working towards something.
I actually have goals. Yeah. Like I realized before I didn't have goals. My goals were to finish my homework, and even then that didn't happen. And it's like I had goals to like, I should hang out with this person this month. And that was it,
And one thing to say about goals, tell me if you agree with this,
right?
Is because in your situation, it's like you have specific goals towards music and stuff like that, right?
Right.
And some people might not have found like what they want to do yet,
right?
But I feel like they can still implement what you're saying about having goals, or maybe the goal is to figure out what I want to do and setting up things to help you figure that out.
I think it's tricky to find out what you want to do if you even know what you like to do or what you think you should be doing. But that's exactly it. You have to go and do new things. That doesn't mean like, okay, time to move to Japan. No, that's no. But
maybe not the first choice.
Maybe not the first choice. No, but it's like really, it's as simple as like calling a person you haven't called in a while to catch up.
Yeah.
Going and doing a different place. Going to a different place. Eating, new food. It can be so simple, but that stuff brings up like new experiences and it can really help it helps build your imagination. I don't know. So I lost my train of thought.
It just gives you it seems like what you're saying is like it kind of gives you like a more variety, so when you do end up picking the decision, you have more data points, for example, so you are more likely to make a good decision. When
you experience different and newer things, you're helping broaden out your knowledge of things. And by doing that, you start to learn things that you never knew. I never knew I liked chili until one day this family friend was making chili at this camp thing that we were doing, and I tried it. I'm in love with chili. But I never would have known that. And because of that, that's actually like helped me realize like my love for other foods of that kind of same type. And the same thing can happen with just other things. You could go and donate your time to go and, I forgot what they're called. Food things?
Oh, food bank.
Food kitchens, stuff like that. But then, like, you do that and you realize, like, you have this love for helping people, that are in need of help, that can't help themselves necessarily. And then you start to go on this thing, like, you expand, like, okay, then maybe my goal in life is to try and help those who can't help themselves, or stuff like that, You have to experience new things. If you don't have a goal yet, experience new things in life. And that can help you, find out what you actually want to do. That's helped me with, like, even with music, I'm like, I'm not really inspired right now. Literally, I call someone, just randomly that I'm talking to, and suddenly I'm like, wow, I feel so like, this is like a good feeling, I haven't like experienced in a while. I really care for this person. That made me think of this thing. It's like, oh, suddenly I want to do this song about this thing, Something random like that can just really inspire you to really just do something. Yeah, I could talk about goals and inspiration forever. I love talking about that stuff.
No, I think that was a beautiful, like, it was very motivational. Whoever listens to that probably is feeling very motivated right now. And I actually would love to talk about your goals, like, next time you get on the podcast. I think it'd be great. And then your music and stuff. I really appreciate you being on.
Yes.
Well, we're almost 2 hours longer than the first two. You're helping me progress by having longer podcasts. Didn't even feel like 2 hours. Yeah, so I really appreciate you being on.
Could anyone see that?
The clap?
The clap.
They could probably see that it happened. I don't know if they could see the actual clap. It might be in between the cameras.
Just imagine it happened. It was. Here,
the claps for
I'll come to your end. Oh no! Back up.
All right. Thanks for being on, Breanna.
Of course.